Call the meeting to order. Stand for Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Nordby.
Here.
Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Councilmember McKenzie.
Here.
Councilmember Schweer is absent. Mayor Monge.
Here. Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Woods, second. McKenzie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
All right, first up, we have two presentations. First up is the Medallion Hunt presentation. We have Nick Casey here to discuss. Step up, please.
Hi, my name is Nick Casey, and I came up with a great idea for a community involvement project that I wanted to do here in North St. Paul. I help out a lot in South St. Paul, my hometown. I don't live there anymore, I live in Maplewood, but
Because they won't hold you against for Jimmy Francis. We'll let you give you a break.
yeah,
for
I
that one.
was just there last night at their city council meeting presenting for a taco feed we do for Fill the Backpacks for Education over there.
Right.
But I help out a lot with Parks and Rec in South St. Paul. And we had come up with an idea when one of my friends was running Parks and Rec over there a few years ago to get people back out into the parks, because we were doing a lot of remodeling of the parks in South St. Paul. And we figured, like, what better way than to do mini medallion hunts? It gets people out, it's fun for all ages, and it's a family event as well. And we started it in the fall that year, because, you know, it's not super hot out and it's nice and gets kids out doing something right before school. But my idea was to also bring that here to North St. Paul. I think it's a good thing for the community, and it gets more than just the people out. It gets businesses involved and stuff like that, and it just kind of brings everybody together. So with the slideshow here, I made this. This would be the poster. My idea would be to run 6 hunts. Each hunt consists of 4 clues, so they're little. They're not meant to be super hard or anything like that. And the clues come out once a day, usually Wednesday through Saturday, so it ends on the weekend, because then people can get out too on the weekend, because not everybody can just get out during the day. People have jobs and stuff like that. The way that the businesses would work and how I do it in South St. Paul is I'm a huge supporter of small businesses, and we have a lot of small businesses here in North St. Paul. And we want people to go to those small businesses, right? We want to keep them in business. So you ask the small businesses to be sponsors for the hunts. So, for instance, for an example, we could go to Max Diner and say, hey, would you guys want to be a sponsor of the first Medallion Mania hunt in North St. Paul? We're just looking for anything that you guys would like to donate. It could be like a $25 gift card, whatever they want. If they want to make a basket, it doesn't really matter, right? That gets them out there, shows they support the community, shows that they're supporting Parks and Rec, which I love. I'm a huge Park and Rec supporter. And we all work together for a common goal of inclusiveness also, I believe. Examples of clues up here. I know they might be a little hard to read, but those are usually how we send them out online. The clues usually come out at the same time each day. And then at the end of it, we would post something bigger like this, where it shows what the explanations for all the clues were as well. These are pictures of medallion finders. So again, fun for all ages. You can get the family out there. Doesn't matter if you're young, old, middle age, however you want to look at it. Everybody has fun and enjoys it. It's a good time. These would be examples for you guys of kind of like how we've done the medallions over there. My buddy owns Tatanka Woodworks, small little woodworking company, and he laser engraves and CNC engraves a lot of my medallions that I use. So the ones in the top left-hand corner are the ones that we use for Parks and Rec, wood medallions. Below that, the little pieces of paper, those are what we put in with the medallion, so that when the person finds it, they know who to call and how to claim their prize. Other things over here would be more of like concealing, so you can kind of get a little idea of how I might conceal something. With that bigger one, that was for Kaposia Days, which me and my buddies run through the Kaposia Days board committee. We had a really interesting story with that one. We found a family in the community, and we kind of wanted to base it around some historical stuff with theirs. They had a really old farm in South St. Paul, and his grandfather was like the only milkman in the city, so he would deliver it. So I wanted to kind of pay homage and tribute to someone in the city, bring some history into the hunt, which is what I intend to do with these little hunts as well, because we don't only have just people from North St. Paul looking for it. We want to bring other people in from other cities to be able to look for these as well. And there's a very big medallion hunt community out there. I'm a part of that, so that's also another thing that is good for getting people into the businesses as well here, is getting other people to see what North St. Paul has to offer. And then these would be the parks and spaces that I found online that you guys have provided on the website. Those would be the only places we would hide the medallions at. So I would choose 6 places out of those, if that's how many the board decides that we can do, right? I think 6 is a good number for hunts. That's what we usually do in South St. Paul. And I will say that I have gone out and I've seen all of the parks in North St. Paul. It was awesome. And I've picked spots. I've picked 6 parks. So I am ready to go. I've actually wrote clues for all of them as well. Other than that, the one thing I would like to do is change how the medallions are done here so that they're not exactly the same as the ones there. So I do have an example of one that I can show you guys, but I don't want everyone to see because then everybody would know what they look like. So if you don't mind if I just walk across the front to show you. So this is like a mock one that I had made for a winter carnival thing that I did. Because I was part of the winter carnival last year.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
You could, but in the rules, we asked not to use a metal detector. So I guess that's kind of at someone's own discretion. Or I could still do wooden ones. It's up to you guys, however you want to do it. That's a good point that you brought up. But in the rules, it should say that, no metal detectors should be used. But yeah, so that would be the idea, and I hope it's something that you guys would like to do.
Ask you a question. 6 is a lot. How long did these take, and how long of a time period are you talking about?
4 clues per hunt, so it should only take 4 days. With the last clue, it walks you right to it, right? So you shouldn't not find it on the 4th clue. So it would run Wednesday through Saturday would be my idea to do it, and then so a month and a half.
And you said in South St. Paul, you're doing 6 right now?
Yeah, we do say it's not happening right this second in South St.
Okay.
Paul, but
Yep.
every year we've ran six hunts. Yep, in a row.
And so there is a big community of medallion hunters, medallion
Yes.
finders, I guess,
Yep.
in Minnesota. So I guess I guess I have concerns with 6 in North St. Paul just because we are a smaller community. So I think, paring that number down to 2 or 3 might be better just to start and see how it takes off. Make sure that it does, because I guess some of our concerns as we've talked about it are, we know that generally some North St. Paul residents, especially around the park areas, can get a little squirrely about, people, potentially intruding in their, on border property lines and things like that. If it's too close to their property or things like that, or just even, seeing a lot of people more people in the park than normal, things like that. People tend to be a little more aware of things like that.
No, definitely.
So, starting off slowly might be a better option.
Yeah, no,
So-
that is totally fine. And I'm really glad you brought that up actually, because as I did go out and I talked to Sarah about it, when I was out at a few of the places, like especially we'll use Silver Lake for example, on the more like northeast part of it. There's somebody's house right there by the lake, and I did actually knock on a few doors for some of those residents and ask them to be out of respect, like if I ran something like this and it was approved by the city, what is too close for you, right? Because we always want to be respectful to the people in the community and stuff like that. So I did do due diligence for some of those areas to ask residents and talk to people, and even just people that were in the parks. I just kind of like just pick their brain a little bit and ask them like, would this be something you'd be interested in, something like that. A lot of good feedback.
Okay.
So I would be, could we meet in the middle at 4?
Part of this, my thing is too, is we do have the Parks Commission, and we haven't even talked to them. I mean, they volunteer, they're, part of the parks. To me, I would think this would be something that would be going through the parks to start with.
When did you have the conversation with Sarah? 'Cause
I'm glad you brought that up also, because we did talk to, Sarah did talk to the Parks Commission people about it and emailed me their emails, and I sent them everything so that they could see the idea and the outline of everything as well.
Feedback?
One of them emailed me today and said she couldn't make it, unfortunately.
That's-
And
I just want to make sure we're mindful, because we ask people to volunteer for things, and then all of a sudden, things happen and we don't even talk to them. So that was my big concern, is they work really hard with our parks, that we're just not all of a sudden, they come to us and we're, I'd like to have their input.
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah,
Understand
there's
they
there's
may
two
wanna add
names.
some things or do something too.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how many people are on the Parks Commission.
7.
But yeah, so there was 2 that she had given me, like I said. So we could
Yeah.
go through all of that. I have no problem with any of
I was
that.
just curious, because because I was on the planning commission before I was mayor. It's nice to be respected as far as all of a sudden this is, parks thing, it's like, this is where we meet,
Yeah, no,
every month.
definitely.
All of a sudden it's, goes up and nobody even has any input. So I just want to make sure that we touch the appropriate to get our input.
Yeah.
Oh, did I understand right that around the fall festival, is it a bigger hunt? So is it?
So that would be the idea, I guess, is what I had. So my thought on that is if this did work, right, and it was something that people really liked and really enjoyed, then we would do one big hunt during fall roundup. So that would be like the one I do in South St. Paul for Kaposia Days. That's our festival weekend there. It would be a bigger hunt. It would be more clues. Everything would go through me and the city, because the city would have to approve of it. And everything, like, the city shouldn't have to pay for anything in either of these situations, right? Everything is on my dollar. It's my idea. It's my project. It's something I want to do. I love giving back to the community, and I get pretty good deals at my buddy's shop, Carolina Creations on White Bear Avenue. Give him a little shout out. He makes everything merchandise-wise, anything you could ever think of, and he's a great guy, and he does a lot for me. So I try to go through him for most of my stuff that I do. But yeah, so the idea with that one would be it'd be bigger. It would be worth more money.
More clues?
Yep, more clues. So usually how we do the one in South St. Paul is we run 2 clues a day. And so you can get it out a little faster. And then one of the nice things that we incorporated 2 years ago over there that I thought was awesome is the finder got to ride in a vehicle in the parade. And that's, I mean, if you're a medallion hunter, like, yes, it's great to find the medallion and get that little bit of recognition, but there's nothing like being kind of the center of attention, being like, yes, I'm the one that found it, and you get just that cool little ride in the parade or walk the parade, however the city would like to see it done. But I think that would be a pretty cool idea to do there. And then usually we give a finder's t-shirt as well for that one. So you get something out of it for sure.
So is it, you work with the city of South St. Paul, or are you?
I don't work for them personally, but
Are you associated? I mean.
I
is,
am,
you know,
yeah.
where
I
is-
do a lot. So I belong to the Masonic Lodge in South St. Paul as well. So I do a lot of fundraising stuff. Like I'd mentioned, the big taco feed that we do for Fill the Backpacks for Education. So that's why I was at their city council meeting last night. And then, like I said, my friend Mercedes was running Parks and Rec for a while. And so that's how I kind of got connected more with Parks and Rec and just kind of fell in love with doing a lot of things with them. And she had moved on and moved with her husband to a different state. And Heather and Shannon that are over there in Parks and Rec, I've just been doing stuff with them over the years. And then they also run another city event called Flannel Fest. It's like our winter festival over there. We do a medallion hunt for that one too. So we do a lot of the medallion hunts. Everything goes through Parks and Rec over there. And then we try to incorporate things, and I try to help out with other little projects that they might have whenever I can, just in my free time.
It was gonna go through Parks and Rec with ours then too?
Yes, it would be Parks and Rec, not the big hunt. That would not be through Parks and Rec. That would be through, if there's a fall roundup board, it would go through them and through the city, not Parks and Rec for that one. Because the Kaposia Days one in South St. Paul doesn't go through Parks and Rec. That one goes through the Kaposia Days committee in the city.
And you go around, do all the collecting for the gifts and, you know?
Yep, I take care of everything. The only thing that anybody would have to do here at the city is Ava would just have to get the stuff online, and I can work with her with that. I'm pretty good at making posters and little things like that, so I could literally have all the clues, all the pictures, and then just email them to her, and then she would just have to put them online and have them set up on the timer for when they come out each day. And then Sarah also would be the one that they would contact, the finders would contact, and then they'd be able to come to City Hall and collect their prize.
And we get a list of, I mean, how does it, what's the checks and balances for you collecting as far as, you know, from different businesses and things like that, just to make sure that, you know, the businesses are represented and, you know, as far as the prizes and things like that? I don't know how that would work.
Essentially how I do it over there, and I've lived there for my whole life, so it's probably a little easier over there for me to do it. I know all the business owners over there on a personal level, and they're all community event sponsors for the Masonic Lodge, for all the things that we do over there. So I've just known those guys for over a decade, more than a decade. And I guess like how I would do it is maybe meet up with Ava or Sarah one day, and we could go together so that there's some, you know, they see that there's some legitimacy, that it's someone from Parks and Rec or someone from the city, and we just ask, hey, you know, would you guys like to be a sponsor for these little medallion hunts that we're doing here in the city? We're trying something new. And we'd just like to recognize the smaller businesses here and get you guys some business. And we're just looking for a donation, whatever you'd like to do. It could be a gift card, it could be a basket, you know, shirt, mug, whatever it is that they have there. You know, for instance, Village Pizza, right? Here's a free pizza for the family, right? A large pizza, that's the prize. And then we collect all those things, bring them back, and then on the clues, if you can go, I don't know if you can go back to the one. Yeah, that one right there. So the little circular symbol with the bull on it down there, that's the Masonic Lodge symbol we used for the hunt. So that's what got our name out there. And then usually in the first clue, I give recognition to that business as well. So it would have the business's logo on all of the clues, and I give them recognition on that. And then usually when they post at the end of the hunt with the finders or whatever, they put in there on like the picture on Facebook, like, once again, sponsored by this business. So essentially they're getting advertisement for whatever they are donating. So
Looking more towards you, Jason, you're much more familiar with things like this than
Uh,
I have no clue.
So I guess I have several questions. A, I'm in favor of this. I think it's going to be wonderful. But B, like the mayor said, to me, it would have to go through Parks and Rec.
Yep.
And then, do you have a 501c? Are you a 501c?
I am not. I do not.
So then my next question would probably be for the city lawyer. Are there insurance implications? What does the other medallion hunts do? Or is there any liability the city's incurring?
So we have like, I know, not to cut you off, sorry, I apologize. We have like a big disclaimer that we use for those, and they put that out, so it's on the website, and it goes through everything from you shouldn't be in the park after park close. It'll never be on a construction site. It'll never be at a swimming pool. It can't, here in North St. Paul, obviously we have lakes and stuff like that, like at Casey Lake, Silver Lake, even the pond down at South. Nothing will ever be hidden next to the shoreline, because obviously we have to have stuff for safety.
Right.
All of that is laid out in the disclaimer and stuff like that. And in South St. Paul, I mean, we have the river, right? I mean, that's even worse. People drown in the river all the time, and that's terrible. We don't want anything close or near that. We do have a pond there too, and a couple streams. But that, again, would have to go through the city. I did send that over. I can email that to anybody else, whoever needs that, so that you guys could go through it and fine comb what I already have kind of like drawn out. I essentially just took the one that we have over there, and instead of it saying South St. Paul, it says North St. Paul.
And that should be fine. We have pretty broad immunity for people using the parks for recreational purposes. As long as we're not sort of creating new and hidden hazards, which as long as we're hiding them in responsible places, we wouldn't be. I guess maybe we'd ask for something like, we don't want it to be in public, so it can't be the whole Parks and Rec Commission or the whole city council, but we'll probably want, the chair of the Parks and Rec Board to approve of each hiding place, just so that we know we're,
Nope, definitely.
we're not putting it somewhere that we think might be a risk. But other than that, we should be fine.
And with that too, like when I went around and looked at all the parks and chose like hiding spots and stuff like that, like I take pictures of everything, right? Because I have to know what's around me to be able to use for clues. So I can always send all of that stuff over to in picture form as well. Or, I have no problem meeting anybody at any park. No park is very far away. Our city's pretty little.
Yeah, so for me, I think this is a wonderful event, running it through the Parks and Rec and the city attorney, as long as those two sign off on it, I don't see any issue. But maybe also include what he was saying earlier in the official rules, that whatever distance away from the border, nothing would be hidden within like 4 feet of the border, just to be mindful of the residents or whatever number that is
Right.
chosen. So as long as you're reading the rules, you never need to be within 10 feet, 4 feet, whatever is chosen of the border to alleviate any of the residents' concern.
Yep, and I would have no problem like coming down and meeting somebody down here anytime to go over all that stuff too. I'm pretty open. I'm very flexible.
Would this have to do anything with special event permits or anything like that?
No, I don't think so, Ken.
I would, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I just want to make sure I get this out so I don't forget about it. You mentioned maybe bringing a city staff person along for the donations, and that we are not able to do. We don't have, the state auditor has taken the position that cities do not have fundraising authority except for certain very specific purposes, and this wouldn't be one of those purposes. There's concerns that it's seen as sort of coercive to have the city show up and ask for donations. So it would have to just be you on your own.
Okay, would there be something that the city could like give to me to
we could
show
give
like
you a,
legitimacy that it was like approved and I am like working with the city, just so someone's not like, oh, this guy's coming in for, $25 gift cards at Max every week.
Yes, absolutely. So we could give, could be either a city council or Parks and Rec.
I don't think they'll get John.
They know me over there, trust me. They know I eat more than most people.
There you go.
Yeah, we could give a resolution from the Parks and Rec Commission or something like that. It would be pretty easy to get.
That'd be awesome.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Do you have enough information to keep this moving, or do you want to refer it back to the Parks Commission for their next meeting for a more formal blessing or review by those folks?
Myself, I would like that.
Yeah.
Because I want them to be, and then we can figure out yes, have them go.
Is that something I would be able to come to? Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
We encourage you to.
We expect you to.
I would love to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where that way, they get excited about it because they're out there in the trenches, with the parks doing a bunch of events. So we want to make sure that we include them and
Yeah,
see what their thoughts are.
definitely.
That would work, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And the next Parks meeting is April 22nd here in Council Chamber,
Okay, sweet.
at 6:30.
Coordinate with Sarah on,
Yeah, just coordinate with
All right,
Sarah.
wonderful.
Yeah, and you
she's
can,
the liaison.
but yeah, agree with Jason. I think this is a great idea. I think starting off a little bit smaller than the 6, I think is probably a good option. And then doing something bigger around either Fall Festival or well, Fire and Ice might be too late in the winter.
Yep, fall roundup.
Autumn Arts Festival or the Fall Roundup. would
Yeah, I would say fall roundup would be the one to do. And then in the future, hypothetically speaking, if all of this goes well, then I think the fire and ice one would be a fun one to do.
Okay.
Just because, it is snow. Then you get to hide it in snow, and then people are actually digging. What month is that in again? I can't remember.
It's in December.
December? Yeah.
Yep.
That, and then that would probably get a lot of people ramped up and ready to go for the Winter Carnival medallion hunt. He'll get them itching to get out there and find something.
That's our biggest park, Casey, too. So
Yep.
that's where we do the fire and everything else, too.
I mean, I don't know if I would specifically hide it there because of that, but
They're all there.
they are, but that's the best part. If you're not there, you might be in the right spot.
I don't have enough patience for that. I did one year. I did it for Winter Carnival. It was Pierce Butler. I figured that out. It was Newell Park in St. Paul, and I thought I was so smart. I went down there. It was wall-to-wall people. Oh, yeah. Geez.
Everybody else
Not as smart as I thought I was.
I am a diehard. I'm out there all potential 12 days.
Well, great.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for letting me come and
Thank you
present.
for
This
the-
is awesome.
For doing
Great
this.
idea.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Have a great night.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick. All right, next up for the presentation is for our Invisible Wounds project. We have Russ Haynes here to discuss and talk about the car show. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm Russ. I'm the executive director and the founder of Invisible Wounds Project. We are a nonprofit based out of Forest Lake. We serve throughout the state of Minnesota and western Wisconsin. I don't have a lot to, let's say, present on screen, so you're going to listen to me talk. I'm very familiar with automotive events. In fact, our charity, which was founded in 2018, started as a car, truck, and motorcycle cruise in 2009. So we run multiple different car events every year. Our biggest one is at Running Aces, and we have done just tons of them. So our biggest car show had about 1,000 vehicles in it, and that was in 2019 pre-COVID, and since COVID happened, it's like just events and stuff have just not been the same. So we have a space up in Forest Lake where we do have 5 full-time staff, myself included, and we have hundreds of volunteers who help make our organization run. Very familiar with North St. Paul and the Friday night car show. Again, I'm a car guy. My brother's a car guy. My dad was a car guy. Lots and lots of friends, lots of club presidents, lots of people involved deeply in the car community within this area. So I saw the post that was put out on Facebook and kind of took everybody in the car community a little bit by surprise of half the shows for Friday nights in North St. Paul. I was made aware that there's an opportunity to potentially run the other Friday nights, and we would like to do that. The Invisible Wounds Project has a group of car, truck, and motorcycle enthusiasts, mostly car and truck, but called the Motorhead Club. And they are tasked with running our car events and managing that. As we've grown, I used to do all that stuff. As we've grown, I've learned how to delegate and give other people responsibilities and expectations. I had a meeting this past weekend with the leadership of that group, and what I'd like to propose is that we would have the traditional car show season for North St. Paul. We would start on Friday, June 5th. Friday, June 19th, which is normally shut down because of Back to the 50s. What we would like to propose is that it would be open. As I've seen over the years, Back to the 50s is starting to dwindle more and more, especially in the evening. Part of that is just the age of the crowd. What I would propose on that Friday the 19th, it would be an open show, so show cars of all years, makes, models, welcomed in. Anytime we have a car show, whether I don't care if it's restricted to 1975 or it's open, they still have to abide by their regular laws and rules that would be required of anyone on city streets and doing what they need to do. We would have 2 in July, the 17th and 31st. The 17th is the Street Machine Nationals show. So we would also propose that be an open night because there's a lot of people coming from out of state, and this might draw additional people in. They close down. I mean, they kick you out of the state fairgrounds at 6 o'clock, and if not earlier. So it would be potentially a way to bring more people in. The 31st of July, 14th and 28th of August, and then our last show would be Friday, September 11th. What we would propose is that we would have one dedicated staff who would officially be in command of the show from the Invisible Wounds Project side. More than likely, that is going to every week be our president of our Motorhead Club. He's very familiar with North St. Paul and with business owners down here, as well as with other, clubs and stuff as well. We would assign one staff member to be our official vendor coordinator for this event, assuring that there's continuity of rules, locations, et cetera. We would have, of course, a lot of volunteers that are involved with this. We've already had other car club leadership and people involved who I've talked to who are interested in volunteering. Volunteers are not going to be an issue whatsoever. We are not going to do a yellow shirt. We have vests because not everybody's going to be able to volunteer every single Friday night that we're there. So we have a vest. We have all of the equipment that would be needed ever to host a car show. So they would have a vest. Rules restriction signs on every intersection that cars can come in and out of. I think that's an important part. They don't just come from one direction and cruise the whole thing. They approach in multiple ways. So every intersection where a car would come through, I would propose that we would have an A-frame. And not only that, not only for the cars, but also spectators of certain rules that we would have to have in place based on just, you can't have open containers just rolling around the street. We would request that the intersection, the southwest corner lot at 7th and Helen, we would like to operate a farmer's market there, farmer's market / maker's market during that time. It's about 6,100 square feet, according to Google Maps. I'm looking at 20 to 25 spaces in there. And obviously, we're running the 7 nights during summer. There's another group running the other 7 nights. For ease of purposes, we would only do it on our 7 nights. And then we would not require North St. Paul PD to have a off-duty present unless that is something that the city council says, yes, you need to have them. I'm open to either. I would request extra patrol anyway. I mean, it's the biggest event in the city that night, so they're probably going to be somewhere near and present. Most of our volunteers, a lot of the people involved in our organization are either current law enforcement, former military, they're first responders or involved in some way in that capacity. Many of them have a lot of de-escalation training and experience. One thing that we're going to do differently is we are going to have a suggested donation of $5 at each intersection, same with those signs. It's a suggested donation. People do not have to donate. People might donate more. It's a way for us to tie into the event. We plan to work with other nonprofits, both local and within our mission of serving vets, first responders, and their families, to provide opportunities for food and supply drives, just giving people the opportunity to get their word out and their mission out. We will be obtaining a permit from the state of Minnesota. It's already in the works for a raffle that we do. We always do a fall raffle. And then we have it at our car show and concert for a cause. So if there's no objection, we would have that at our info booth where people could buy those tickets. It wouldn't necessarily require a special permit anywhere else other than the state of Minnesota, because that's where we have to go through the Gambling Control Board. We may also request to do a bucket raffles or like a 50-50 raffle potentially during our show. I don't know if I truly want to do that, but wanted to gauge if we wanted to do that, if that would be an option. Obviously within Gambling Control Board rules and all that stuff, we're not trying to jam ourselves up over a $500 bucket raffle. All current vendors have been contacted, and the majority have returned our calls and are excited about the opportunity to participate with us. One thing that I think used to make North St. Paul and the show really vibrant was having a central location off of 7th, near Roddy's, near Newman's, near Max Steiner, and having a band in a central location there. It's right in the middle of the strip of the show. That kind of went away. I would like to propose that we have a spot where there's room for us to set up, room for our bands that we're looking at hiring. I've already got 5 out of the 7 nights committed to bands with pay. And then also, I'm looking at having a sponsor of the night that would have a booth tied into that same space. So it's all in the central spot. People are going to go by that area. It's naturally a larger presence of people because it's right dead center. My question with that is with the command post and all that stuff there, I don't know if there's power there. We have our own power that we can bring and do generator, just different stuff like that for the band. We're not talking about hairball. We're talking about a 3-4 piece band that's, going to be reasonably projected. And, I know there's music at, other places as well. So we're not looking to call everybody in from the cities around. But to be able to make announcements and be able to do that piece of it. My question is, if we have a sponsor of the night, if they're not selling anything, do they have to get a special permit?
I don't think so. They would be rolled into your master permit.
Okay. All right. So I have that. The only thing I have, so one of the other things, so we're not going to deal with dash plaques. We're not going to deal with trophies. What I would be looking at is we would be doing, the sponsor of the night would have the opportunity to give away a promo item at the gate or at the gates, if you will, or at the info booth. And if they didn't, we would do something. So we also do a lot of woodworking. So there might be some just drawings at our info booth for people to come up and win an item or see some of the stuff that we have and register to win via that. My only other side of it, I've provided a proof of insurance with the $1 million coverage that was requested. Brian and I spoke. My question and my question from my insurance guy was, okay, the liability side of this, and this is probably where the attorney comes in. We're on city streets. It's a public event. We're hosting it, but, people are coming from all over the place. How does that play out? Is there a way that we're also indemnified in some way by the city? Or is there a declaration that is made, or how does that work? Obviously, there's disclaimers of, if you get drunk and fall on the sidewalk, it's something totally different, but.
Just pulling up the code here so I can actually quote the specifics at you.
Russ, while he's looking, do you have a maximum number of vehicles that you're envisioning?
Well, I don't know if there's a way to even count the vehicles that, come in, really, because they park on the street, and then once they're off the street, then they go elsewhere, and there's almost no real way to control that. I think we would just be reasonable, and, if we had to start somehow restricting, what's happening, then we would. We're not looking to make major changes at all. We have a I mean, ultimately, this is we have 7 individual events that this is, but it's one event. Our organization, you know, is year-round, 365-day operation. I don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize our true mission and why we exist. So we're not looking to, you know, have drag racing up and down the street. We're looking to have this be a win-win. I think for us, this is a good opportunity for us to connect with a lot of people in one space that will align with our mission of serving vets and first responders and their families. And doing it in a way that also is something that's kind of how we started and is a passion of ours.
So as far as the liability items, so the city does require public liability and property damage insurance as part of obtaining that special event permit. I forget what our exact limits are. I think it's $1.5 million, something like that. But we've worked with other people before on this one. It tends not to be that expensive to just get that insurance. And so that would cover your organization for anything sort of event specific, so that's things like sort of, you know, crowd movement or those sorts of claims. And then you wouldn't necessarily be indemnifying the city for anything for the sort of pre-existing conditions, so things like, you know, uneven sidewalks or, you know, general traffic conditions. That's not something that changes, and so that doesn't fall on you that way. That's kind of how everything shakes out.
Got it. Yeah, and I mean, we have insurance. My wood shop is far more probably expensive than, so.
Russ, thank you for coming and giving this presentation. I truly hope you are incredibly proud of what you built. If you're not, you should be. For those of you that aren't familiar with your organization, could you just give a little background of
Yeah,
what Invisible Wounds is?
yep, absolutely. And I'm gonna hand these out too.
Thank you.
Thank you. They're very fresh. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the Invisible Wounds Project is we're a nonprofit out of Forest Lake. We run a support center, but we serve throughout Minnesota, western Wisconsin. Our focus is on current and former military, police, fire, EMS, frontline medical staff, corrections, 911 dispatch, and then their families related to wellness, mental health, PTSD, suicide issues. I was a police officer, corrections officer, 911 dispatcher for 17 years. I left with PTSD in 2016 from public safety. At that time, it didn't exist as far as first responders with PTSD or mental health and wellness stuff the way it does now. When I looked around for help, I was suicidal. I was looking for help. I couldn't find any organizations that served first responders. It was all veteran related. And so eventually, obviously I, survived through that, but the Invisible Wounds Project was born from that car, truck, and motorcycle cruise that we started in 2009 with, 12 cars and 25 people. It had grown over time into what is now the Invisible Wounds Project. Our organization last year, to give you an idea, we served over 2,000 individuals. 70% of those individuals came from within a 40-mile radius of Forest Lake. We did over 125 suicide and crisis interventions, which averages, I think, 3.5 a week or something like that. I'm not the math whiz here. And we provided over 8,000 hours of wood shop and creative arts instruction. And then we had over 1,500 hours of mental health therapy services provided. We are run 90% of what we do is from fundraising and donations and sponsorship. I have $130,000 in grants I have $100,000 from Washington County and $30,000 from Chisago County. Outside of that, it's all fundraising, it's all boots on the ground, heavily involved with volunteers. That's how we make it work. And we do a lot of events. We're good at events. My second in command, who's the support center director, comes from an event background as well. So we do, I mean, if you look at the back of at the back of that flyer, you'll see weekly activities. We do more in a week than a lot of organizations probably do in a month or in a year. We've constantly got fundraisers. Our support center is built in a way we have an event center in there with almost 6,000 square feet that is rentable. So we do weddings in there. We do other nonprofits galas, including our own. We do retirement parties. We've done celebrations of life. So we understand scale of events and that, how it works. But those that we serve also get a lot out of being a part of something bigger. When you are whether you're military, you're a first responder, you lead a life of service. And whether you are still serving or whether you leave, a lot of times when you're not in that service role, things start to go a little bit sideways. And what we do by providing people a lot of different outlets and a lot of different ways related to their hobbies and their interests, it gives people a renewed mission and a renewed purpose. And this is just, I look at this car show as another event that will get people out and help spread the word and the mission and bring, some eyes to it. I don't know how long you all have been involved here. I can tell you the day that Richard Crittenden was killed, I was working. I heard that call on the radio. I listened to it. I had friends that are people that were at that call. We have an IWP member who was one of the medics at that call. He took his life in the last year and a half. Prior to that, his partner, who was a part of that call, also took his life. And so this isn't just to me, this is something more. There's a tie-in for that in this community for me and for our organization as well.
Thank you so much for what you do, by the way. But thank you you've given a very short period of time to kind of pull all this together, and it's a very important event to the city, and I just really appreciate how you've pulled it together so fast, and we're here to work with you any way we can.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you for everything you do.
Yep, thank you.
That was impressive.
Thank you.
That was my birthday. Rick was killed. And the mayor next door to me calls over. He says, "You know what happened?" I said, "No." He said, "Rick was killed." Okay. That's about blew my day, that day. So, yeah, I remember that day well.
All right.
I'll be in touch
Okay.
and work our way through it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thanks
very
so
much.
much, Russ.
Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
All right, move on to the consent agenda. Item A, March 17th, 2026, City Council Workshop and Regular Meeting Minutes. Item B, General Claims of $747,996.57. Item C, HRA Claims of $141.12. Item D, Special Event Permit, Wilderness Inquiry Canoemobile Event. Item E, Fee Schedule Updates. Item F, Electric Department Landis and Gear Purchase Request. Item G, approve fiber use agreement. And item H, approve the 2026 Invisible Wounds Project Agreement.
Thank you very much. Anybody like to pull anything at this time? If not, may I get a motion, please?
So moved.
So move. Councilmember Nordby.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Woods. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to open to the public. John Schmall.
John Schmall, 2750 Chisholm Avenue. A few items. Number one is that the Watershed District had a meeting. They didn't invite anybody from the north side of the lake. I don't know, it was put on by somebody, Jim, Sell Cow, who lives in the area of Diane Street. They're complaining about the way Casey looks during the summertime. They wanted to do something, and basically they said, we can't do anything about it. And the negative thing about the meeting was that they came up and said, Casey is not a lake. Now, there is a resident of North St. Paul who is a retired DNR employee and gave me the DNR site that specifically says that Casey is a lake. Is this important? I think it is, but he's given me ideas on where to go to get this straightened out, but I'd certainly not like to have Casey not listed as a lake. Second item is the aftermath of snow plowing on Chisholm Avenue. Been there 40 years. There's never been anything that occurred that would catch your attention as something went wrong, but this winter started out with a wipeout of a mailbox, and you could see the way the plow was going, and it went right like he was looking for it. I doubt he was, but then we ended it with the last snowfall, and they got the south side of Chisholm at the lower end of it. And I don't know what the city does when they wipe out 2 feet of the boulevard. Whose responsibility is that? I'd like you to look into that, because the neighbor to the east of me ended up with having the plow come in and deposit all the sod in his driveway before he had a chance to run the snowblower. And I noticed him last week. He picked up all the stuff or the sod, and he was like making a jigsaw puzzle, putting it back on the boulevard. I doubt if that is a good thing to do. I think it should be replanted, but that's up to the city to do. Last item is, I ended my time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, city business action items and recommendations. First up, item A, mobile food vendor ordinance update. I'm going to turn this over to Ken Roberts.
Thank you, City Manager, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We're proposing and bringing to you tonight some updates to our mobile food vendor ordinance. We run through these, so the council may recall that you just reviewed this back on February 17th, and you're thinking, why are we talking about it again? Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, we found a couple of things in it that were still not working, and we're going to touch on those. First one, item L in the ordinance. Now, the ordinance says that it prohibits food vendors from operating mobile food vending businesses less than 200 feet from any other existing food service premises unless approval of that owner of the food service or retail center is given. That has not been enforced for the car show in all these years. And with the moving of the Autumn Arts Festival, that would be a problem when they set up in that parking lot. So that's one item that we're proposing to change. It was originally, as we understand it, and the current staff, my department wasn't here when it was put in place, was to protect existing businesses. So we didn't have 3 trucks set up outside of an existing business or a trailer. Apparently that hasn't been a problem because we've never had a complaint as far as anyone knows. So we're proposing to drop that 200-foot rule, and so we're more accommodating for the events. We're clarifying that mobile food vendors cannot be in the city right away unless they are part of a permitted event, again, like the car show, Autumn Arts Festival, that kind of thing. One thing we're also adding or proposing to add is some language that a mobile food vendor is a food vendor that's in one location for fewer than 7 consecutive days. If a vendor is parked longer than that, then they don't qualify as mobile food because now they're set up shop for however long, more than 7 days, and that's not the intent. Lastly, we're proposing to change the hours to 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. instead of 8 to 8, and that's more consistent with our city park hours. And we just, we'll be talking about those in a minute. So there's some ordinance words that we're changing or phrases. Again, these are just on the screen to show you the strikeout and the strike through. We're proposing to change those. And item L at the bottom there, we're proposing to strike the 200-foot rule. That's a quick overview of these changes. I'll take questions. Otherwise, we're recommending you adopt the ordinance that's included in the packet that approves the proposed amendments to the mobile food vendor ordinance.
So is this kind of covering for the Lions? They leave their trailer there all summer? Is that kind of what that helps them, so they fall within what we have?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they would not be considered a mobile food vendor then? Okay. So I guess that kind of answers my question, but the mobile food vendor, would it be with the intent to distribute or sell food, or to sell or distribute food or beverages? So if they do it once in that period, is that kind of, it doesn't have to be every 7, every day necessarily?
Correct.
Another, I noticed outside of Love's, there's a truck there every day now.
There's a the coffee vendor.
Yeah, is that what does that include?
Yes.
Then too?
He's got license to be there then?
Yes.
That's what, I noticed that's more of a permanent thing, that I've seen that there.
Right.
Are you deep in thought, Jason?
Yeah. And I don't know why, does what they do outside the city have any effect on these ordinances?
For clarification, beyond the borders of North St.
So
Paul?
if I have a if I have a truck and I park it at the state fair for the entirety of the 14 days, does that exclude me from being a mobile food vendor?
No.
It only means what happens in city property, right?
Correct.
Perfect. Then I have no questions.
Right. Anybody else have anything with, bless you.
No.
So, do up for the vote now, right?
Yes.
Ready?
So we're
All right,
recommending approval of the ordinance, and need a motion, please.
all right, I got a motion on this, please.
So moved.
So move, Councilmember Nordby.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Woods. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.
Next item up, item B, ordinance update to chapter 92 for parks and lakes. Back to you, Ken.
I'll take this one also, Mayor.
Oh, yeah, you're on a roll, might as well continue.
Get your money's worth
Get
tonight.
their worth out of that new haircut.
That's right. We as a staff are proposing some updates and changes to the Parks and Lake Ordinance, which is Chapter 92 of the city code. This was initiated by Sarah on my team after reviewing the ordinance and realizing that most of it had not been updated since 1989. And there were some things that we felt were missing or incomplete, or just times have changed. So we're proposing a series of things. This draft ordinance was reviewed by the Parks and Rec Commission back on March 25th, and they recommended approval of what you'll see this evening. So some high-level highlights. We are proposing to add several provisions to the ordinance about the preservation of vegetation, so that it's very clear that we want people to protect the trees and not chop them down and do damage to vegetation. There's many words in the ordinance that outline that. I'm not going to go through those, but it strengthens and clarifies those provisions. We're proposing additions about to the littering section, which is 9202, about garbage and recycling, again, to help clarify our city standards on those. We are proposing updates to the prohibited activity section to ensure consistently that if there are things some people are proposing, that they get city manager written permission to do those things. Otherwise, they are prohibited. And if need be, I can get you some examples of those. And lastly, we're proposing in this part to add language about the restrict the various types of vehicles in the parks. E-bikes, bicycles, skateboards, and motorized foot scooters. Clearly, some of those weren't around in 1989, so we want to bring it up to date for those type of vehicles that may want to use the park. And essentially, we're saying they can stay on the trails, stay out of the grass, don't tear up the grass, those kind of things. We're also proposing updates to the animals in the park. It's 9206 to restrict feeding of wild animals and birds, and it further defines the responsibility of pet owners to clean up after their pets, keep them on a leash, etc. Adding a provision that prohibits persons from having glass beverage containers in the parks. You don't need broken glass anywhere. And we're proposing to remove the aircraft regulations because it doesn't seem to be a need to have regulations about the starting or landing of aircraft in a park, or potentially on Silver Lake, I guess, may have been.
What happened to the pontoon planes?
I'll cancel the mayor's jet then. I'm not ordering anymore.
Or the
Can't
helicopter.
land it in the park, forget it.
Again, some real high-level summary of what we're proposing. With that, I'll take questions. Otherwise, our recommendation is to have you review the ordinance. If you're proposed or supportive of it, there's a motion there to approve ordinance 2026 XXX, amending various sections of Chapter 92, the Parks and Lakes regulations.
One question I do have, kind of back on the animals in the parks.
Yes.
I know at one point was it for Autumn Arts Festival or something like that, one of the proposals was looking at like a petting zoo. Where would that fall into? Would that be, because it's part of an event, would that be outside of the scope of this? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sure they would be leashed and caged and
Yeah, yes,
not running amok.
correct.
We're also trying to prevent.
Sounds like some good housekeeping taken care of, so.
And again, full credit to Sarah, because she started reading this and said, this doesn't look so good. Here we are.
Two questions. First, I'll take item, I guess on both questions, have these rule changes been reviewed by Ray? I mean, I'm assuming Ray's gonna, and his staff is gonna be the one that's gonna have to enforce these. Police chief, sorry.
Well, we did not run those by police, but yes, they would be the enforcement agency.
And then I guess for the city attorney, specifically item H, is item H enforceable, and are there First Amendment concerns?
Pulling up the specific language here.
Had to use the computer twice today. I think we're gonna be some extra charges.
Because when it specifies commercial purposes or use in commercial advertising, maybe not, but I guess.
Yeah,
The photographs of recording?
yeah, the restriction on sort of photography for commercial purposes. I'm not going to say it's entirely clear one way or the other. I will say it is very common to have this kind of a provision for commercial photography. That's usually seen as distinct from, something like either personal speech or like journalism photography is generally not covered under something like this.
So you don't see any issue with the way it's written?
I don't, no.
Okay.
Like a guy who's using the park like his own business, doing pictures on a regular basis, that's what we're talking, like some kind of.
Yeah, promo footage for a business or, a professional photo shoot down by the lake or something like that.
Makes sense. All right. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Woods.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Nordby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
All right, last item is the item C, ball field agreement between North St. Paul and Independent School District 622. Ken has a trifecta.
Darn, I don't have PowerPoint for this, but that's okay. So the city has historically had a ball field agreement with the school district for the use of the McKnight Fields and Kunkel. And again, through time and changing uses, it was determined that the agreement needed to be updated. This was first established in 2011. So the proposed major changes, which are outlined in the staff report, so we want to make sure that the school district notify via email the designated city staff person about scheduling fields and rescheduling fields or games or practices because of rainouts and just schedule changes. Make that clear that that's their responsibility to send us an email so we have a track record or written track, if you will, documentation. Second proposal is we are proposing a $300 fee to be charged to the district if city staff must tear down and store any school district temporary fences that are left behind. That has happened on McKnight Fields. If the crew, so if there's games in the evening, we expect the school district staff to take those fences down. So if we want to, or the city staff wants to mow or fertilize or something the next day, they don't have to take the time to take the fences down or work around them. That's on the school district. And thirdly, the other major thing is we are having the agreement that every capital improvement to a city field that they want to propose must go through the donation review process and approval process with the city. We just don't want some random improvement showing up and not know about it. I don't know that would happen, but it would include submitting plans, financial information, maintenance repair information of whatever it might be, and it would come to the city council for approval of a donation. So again, it's documented who's going to do what, how it's getting put in, where it's going in, that kind of thing. The school district has reviewed this and has approved the agreement as written. In fact, your copy in the packet is their signed version of it. So they have blessed it and appear to be on board. So it's our recommendation that the city council adopt the attached resolution, which adopts the updated field use agreement between the city and Independent School District 622.
Perfect. I have a motion. If any questions, I should ask that first. If not, can I get?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Councilmember McKenzie.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Woods. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to reports from the manager and the departments. So today we had a staff meeting. Electric department's working on getting locates called in for their work they're going to be doing near the Northwood Park area for the next couple of weeks. They're completing communication wiring running between buildings for the new door systems, which are getting close. They've only got 3 doors that they're waiting on material for. That's in the fire department. So that will be wrapping up here hopefully soon. Then they'll probably be moving on to the Public Works building after that. Electric got 33 applicants for the open position that they have for their linemen, so that was nice to see. Communications is finalizing the 2026 road construction letter for distribution to let the residents know about the upcoming project. Developing a small business promotional video, which is really going to be nice for the downtown businesses. And finalizing Autumn Arts Festival bookings. HR, Jenny's been very busy with updating the personnel policy. Her and I have been working together on that, and Jack's been double checking our work, so that's good. It's been a while. Finance has had 40 applicants for their open position, so it's nice to see the numbers come up a little bit for the open positions. For a while there, it was pretty small. And Dan is excited to move on already to the CIP and budgets session, so. Police has got their body camera audit certification complete. That was a nice thing to see from them. They did a good job. They had 37 applicants for their open position. They narrowed it down to 8 interviews, and that'll be starting next Tuesday. Didn't get any laterals, but they had some people with some experience, so that's good. Chief will be attending the Chiefs Conference in St. Cloud next week. The TZD campaign is underway. They've been working joint programs with other cities, and we'll be having one come to our city in the not-too-distant future. TZD, by the way, is towards 0 deaths for drunk driving. Public Works is doing their hydrant flushing. They're in over a week now. They're hoping to have that done in about another 2 weeks, so that's when we will go on and try to get off chlorine again, and then kind of go from there. And, of course, ongoing pothole patching around the street. Winters are tough on our streets. And they had 20 full-time applicants for their position down there, for their Public Works position. Fire has a badge pinning ceremony next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Just released that today, so that's why you haven't heard about it before that, but if you can make it, wonderful. They have the Safe Haven program ongoing with the CO alarms installs and promotional video posted pretty soon on that as well. Access control system rollout is underway. It's getting really close to actually implementation. And community development, amongst all the other things they're working on, the Cower Elementary Addition project pending final agreements is getting close. So that's great. You know, putting the finishing touches on all of the cleanup day organizing. And that's about it. Thank you.
All right, councils, any updates, commissions? You're
I've
good?
got nothing.
Okay. I'm looking here. I asked Sarah, she's so good, I asked her to give me, because Cassidy's not here tonight, so I asked her for an update, and after their meeting on the 26th of March, they sent an update. So what they talked about tonight, going for the approval for the updated with the parks, going in front of the council tonight, April 7th. They did talk about the Medallion hunt, so they know a little bit about it. So they said Nick was there, and they talked about him attending the meeting with that after working with and talking with Ava. So it sounds like maybe it wasn't officially, but it was discussed at the parks. So that's good. I think they'll be able to go back and kind of tweak on some days and things like that. Citywide cleanup, May 16th, 10 to noon. They have Urban Logical Center. Is that right? Parks cleanup, and I said? Yeah. Did I say parks, or did I say cleanup? Oh, I'm sorry. Parks cleanup. My apologies. See, this is why the mayor doesn't read. April 16th, 10 to noon. So they got the Urban Ecological, is that how you say that, center? You got by the post office pond, they'll be doing over there, Postal Credit Union Pond, which is ideal now, McKnight Fields, Silver Lake, and they're still working with the Rotary for the Rotary Park and things like that, so. That was an update from the Parks and Rec. Yeah, anything from Arts and Culture?
Arts and Culture met on April 1st, but no real updates, nothing major.
Planning Commission met a couple of days ago here in Chambers, and they passed 2 items that'll be coming before us, I believe, at the next city council, a variance and a PUD or CUD.
CUP for an ADU.
Thank you.
Wowzer.
Yeah.
It'd
So-
be their first accessory dwelling unit.
Okay. Oh, really? Awesome. All right, anything else as far as new business or anything anybody wants to share?
Mayor, if I just give a shout out, if I may.
Bet.
The cleanup day again is for the junk removals, May 9th. There are some changes this year, the council's well aware, but we're trying to make sure people know that you can't bring your box truck, you can't bring your semi, there are load limits, size limits, 1 single axle trailer. Electronics and mattresses are not being accepted this year. There will be charging for vehicles coming in. And on the fee schedule tonight, there was updated fees, including those vehicle charges. And Ava has been getting the word out, and we're just continue to remind folks it will be different this year. We hope it'll be more manageable and run smoother. And, yes, and if you can volunteer, if you haven't notified Ava, please let her know.
Okay, great.
Just a quick addition to that, we're not taking the mattresses or the electronics, but they are taken for free through Ramsey County at the recycling center over in Roseville.
And I will say that I personally took a mattress in Box Springs and some electronics over there, and it was super simple, super easy. So
Awesome.
if you have any, take it, it's easy to do. So.
And as always, please keep up with the newsletter. Ava does an excellent job. I mean, that's our town paper, so that's where we can't talk and knock on everybody's door. So we have it out there. Please take advantage and I get it text on Wednesday. I always know, boom, there she is. And I get the newsletter text to me too. So please, if you don't have it, sign up for it because that's where we give our information. So please stay on top of that. If nothing else, I'll ask for adjournment, and we'll see everybody April 21st for our next meeting. Okay, adjournment?
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Woods, second, Councilmember McKenzie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.